How is everybody doing today? My name is Master Zero and welcome back to another reaction video. This time we're reacting to Pokemon Sent Me to Japan by JaidenAnimations. Alright, so it's been a hot minute since JaidenAnimation released anything, or at least anything animated-wise. You know, I know she does her, live stream, Secret Life thing going on, but I'm more interested in the animated stuff. And what a really awesome topic, you know? I love it whenever I come back, or she comes back to Animations, and then they have, a whopper of a video, man. This is, over 30 minutes long, which, yes, please. I love just digesting, whoever it is, into really huge chunks, you know? It's arguably my favorite form, you know, whenever I do react to a whole season, for example, you know, for a Minecraft animation. But onto this, man, I love this topic so much because I myself, and along with I'm pretty sure almost everybody my age and lower, they want to go to Japan so freaking bad. That's literally my dream vacation, you know. So I'm with her when she said Pokemon Sent Me to Japan. I think the title was something else in the past, but it's changed to this. But I want that. I want that so bad. If Yu-Gi-Oh or Dragon Ball Z or somebody or some pop culture reference that I love sends me to Japan, I would be flabbergasted, man. So I'm really excited to get this video going. So without any further ado, here's Pokemon Sent Me to Japan.
Remember when Pokemon sent me every single one of their Gen 5 sitting cues?
Vaguely. I don't think I watched that one.
Turns out they
was that hour-long one?
That video. So much, in fact, that they said, "Hey,
what's
Jaiden,
up with the ball guy,
awesome
by the way?
Video. Why don't you
I only played
Japan
one
to
of the
watch
newer
Pokemon
games that he's in.
World Championships?
Yeah.
You won't have to pay for your flights or hotel or nothing."
Same exact. Dude, what? Yeah. How can you be so lucky? Oh my god.
Back in
that is beautiful.
With my family. We did a bunch of fun little Japanese tourist things. It was a phenomenal trip.
Let's
but
go.
Ever since then, I've always wanted to go back and do all the awesome nerdy
See,
stuff
that's what I feel like would be my problem.
It's
I want to go back as soon as I come
back. They didn't
back.
even know who Luffy was. They would have been so lost. So when Pokemon extended their hand and offered to fly not only me but Jacob out to attend the biggest Pokemon tournament in the world, I jumped for joy. Free trip to Japan. The tournament was only going on for.
And she said everything was paid for. Let's go.
Stay there for 3 whole weeks to do a bunch of extra nerdy stuff.
That's almost a month.
We were pumped.
Let's
Eventually,
go.
the time came. Jacob and I were packing up all our stuff and decided we both would bring an extra suitcase so we could treat ourselves a bit and buy a bunch of cool stuff while we're there.
And then take it with you.
Don't judge us. We're anime.
Not judging at all.
Impulse
I did that for Disney.
Going to Japan. A game plan was needed. We were being responsible. 2 extra suitcases was definitely gonna be enough.
Foreshadowing?
Yep. Equipped with our extra luggage, we headed off to the airport. Pokemon straight up gave us business class seats.
Let's go! Not even first class,
so
but
when
business.
we boarded, we realized we had the seats where you could lay down. There even was some sort of seat divider that acted like a car window, so I could roll it down and bother Jacob whenever I wanted.
Like Donkey on Shrek.
11-hour flight later, and we were in Japan.
Okay.
It was
I wish it was that fast.
The best
not the time-wise, but the animation-wise.
I'm not joking. I had the most incredible trip
Let's
and got
go.
to do things I won't ever forget. And I moved because I've now plastered it onto the internet forever. We landed midday Japan time, so we decided to go to the first thing we wanted to see while abroad. Japanese McDonald's. I couldn't order anything except fries.
I knew it was gonna be something else, man.
When we saw something called the Double Big Mac on the menu.
Double Big Mac?
Americans already went big with the Big Mac, but Japan did the impossible. Just to send a message.
Why is Ronald scary?
Place. Let's begin with the next morning. Pokemon planned a bunch of cool stuff for the creators and partners they flew out. Beginning with a group field trip to the Mega Tokyo
you get to go with Pokemon Pikachu? Oh my god.
For it. And missed the bus they had for us. And it totally wasn't completely my fault entirely because I hypothetically didn't read the schedule correctly and was taking my sweet time getting ready. Why would you think that? So
because you just elaborated
to get there. Anyone that remembers my first
at least they didn't miss it.
The trains were me and my family's mortal enemy _1. We kept getting it wrong and it was failure after
second time's the charm, right?
Entire trip.
Right.
You think that with all that prior experience and struggle, I would have grown as a Japanese train understander. Right?
No, I love it. Oh, wow.
But at least we were having a good time.
Do not enter like it's big
After
as
a lot
possible.
Of freaking out
this is
and
fine.
Mental strain and regrets, we finally arrived at our destination, and although by the time we got there, they had already finished looking at the Pokemon Center, we were able to grab a quick snack with the group at the Pokemon Sweets Cafe.
Not all is
I
lost.
meant to take a picture of the Pikachu waffle before I ate half its cranium, but
it was
I
so
forgot.
good.
So this is what you get. Now that we were with the group, we were able to travel with them for the rest of the day, so we packed into the bus us and headed off to a traditional tea ceremony where we were taught all about how the tea masters would make tea.
Oh, that's another thing I want to go to
etiquette
Japan for is their
about
freaking
the
culture.
Of tea in Japanese culture.
Let's
all
go.
while getting to taste the tea master made.
I'm not jelly.
Again, I meant to take this picture before I took a chunk out of the little
Jumping a little bit too early.
But here we are yet again. I'm just not that great at this.
It's
they also
fine.
served us a
Kind of reminds me of those things on
lunch of
urinals.
super fancy bento boxes.
Oh.
Like, so fancy that the host was like, dude, I've never even had these bento boxes before. I was super excited.
I want to see.
But
animated
I don't
form.
mean to be ungrateful or wasteful, but the
Why?
box was full of super fancy, complicated fish and seafood.
Second and third one was actually okay.
I'd have to be flexible with
I eat
food
raw fish.
because
It's
it's
good.
really hard to be vegan or even vegetarian there. So I really tried to eat as much as
Pescatarian,
possible
whatever
and look
PewDiePie says.
thankful. But yeah, I struggled a lot. But I still had a great time.
It's
and
like
it was
so
fun.
good.
We were dropped off at the
Throwing
Yokohama
up in your mouth.
Chinatown and left to explore a bit until dinner in a few hours. Everyone separated into groups, and Jacob, Stefan, the guy
That guy scares me. I'm gonna say it.
You guys remember him. The guy named Steve and I went and pursued the street
Steve.
food a bit before stumbling into
Can
a
you
little
imagine?
arcade with a bunch of crane machines. I got this silly little bear minifigure. His name is Chico.
That is
so I decided
adorable.
to innocently carry him around in my pocket for the entirety of the trip. You know, because he was silly. This single action severely changed the course of my mental stability going forward. We'll
Tamagotchi?
see soon enough.
Oh.
But look at these cute photos
Foreshadow.
I got of them. We had a
look
great
at
dinner, headed back to the hotel. Got to
I love
hang out
everything
with
about
our
it,
good old Pokemon rival Jan a bit, and called it a night.
Jan a
The
bit?
next day, we all got to do some private shopping at the Pokemon World's pop-up shop. I'll just say we bought way too much stuff that we also don't regret in the slightest.
Don't regret
I
at all.
got this video of Jacob grabbing more and more sitting cuties as the workers
Those are
kept
so cool.
reorganizing
I wanna
them to
Pichu.
keep the display looking perfect. We walked out of there with 3 giant bags of stuff. But it's okay
Let's go.
because remember,
I do the
we
same.
anticipated this with our extra suitcases, which I am starting to wonder if they are going to be enough.
Snorlax,
but
one
surely we will
Snorlax.
calm down. We were then
I
all
love
taken to the creatures' offices.
Creatures'
You know,
office?
Just the place where they make Pokemon
Oh,
cards. It
well, I
was
didn't know.
gorgeous in there. They had these
What about
awesome
Yu-Gi-Oh?
sculptures of giant Pokemon cards with crystals, and all the walls were lined with 3D card art. It felt
That reminds
like
me
I
when
was
like
in
the
a building
Pokemon movie
with a
came
lot
out
of
with the
significance.
Pokeballs with the gold thing.
Because I was. We got
Oh.
a tour around the building, met the TCG
Interesting.
card testers, and were able to
Oh.
ask them questions about their process. Even got to have a little Q&A session with Atsushi Nagashima, the game director of the Pokemon TCG.
I know
It was
who you
funny.
are.
One of the people in our group
I
asked
love
how they
TCGs, man. I don't
chose
care
which
what it is.
Pokemon to make cards for. A good question. And then followed it up with, I really like Mantike, but there's only 2 Mantike cards that exist. And the assistant pulled up a list of all the Pokemon Mantike cards that have ever been created.
How many
and
we got?
Sure enough, there were
Oh.
only 2. The director chuckled and was essentially like, yeah, sometimes Pokemon get lost in the cracks. We kind of
Aw.
just make cards of Pokemon I like. For example,
That's
my
fair.
favorite Pokemon is Gengar. And
Really?
you know what? That actually makes a lot of sense. Also, we were able to have a Q&A
At least he's
session
honest,
with
man.
the
I love
Pokemon
that.
Card art
It's like, yeah, I
director
kinda
and
do what I
3
like.
artists who actually draw art for the cards. That was super
Oh!
interesting, and I was so
Oh,
incredibly
that is beautiful.
inspired by that discussion.
Can you imagine
But
Magic
know
the
those
Gathering
Pokemon
artist,
cards
dude?
with the super cute clay art? That
Yes!
artist's name is Yuka Mori, and she was
Right
in
on.
that panel. I was so starstruck.
Starstruck.
Those are
Let's
some of
go.
my favorite Pokemon
Took the words
cards.
out of my
And
mouth.
not
I
only
literally
that,
have the
but she
scribbly
hosted a
one.
little workshop
I don't
for
know
us
the new
where
ones.
She gave us clay and taught us how to make little clay
Wait,
Magnemites like
she
in this
actually
card here.
makes the-
Speaking
of course
this
she
card,
does. That is
she brought
beautiful.
the actual original Magnemite for us to see.
Holy
that was by
shit.
Far the coolest thing
That is
I've ever
amazing.
gotten to
What?
be a part of. We got to meet
Oh,
a
that's
piece
so
of
cool.
genuine history. I felt like I was meeting the president.
Yes.
Also, here's me and Jacob's
I was able to
Magnemites
meet
that we
the
made. Day
actual
3 of our
Nightmare
little
Before
Pokemon
Christmas
field trip, we were
claymation
taken
things.
to another
That was
Pokemon
really
center.
cool.
This time
But that's
in
Pokemon.
Shibuya, which was also right across from a Nintendo store.
Oh, let's go.
It was like a bullet was shot through our credit cards. In the shopping
Oh.
center, I saw a little gacha machine
Dramatic
with
finish.
little miniature Chicoa plushes.
Is it the same
I
guy?
was only interested in getting Chicoa, but I decided to test my luck anyway.
You got this.
And I got him first
All
try.
right, let's
Now
go.
had
I was gonna
2
say,
of
me
them.
and my
Yes,
daughter are
the
very
original
lucky with
was
that
still in
stuff.
my pocket. You can safely assume he is in my pocket for the
Now you have
entirety
twins.
of this video. I've got pictures to prove it.
That is
Jacob snapped
amazing.
This awesome picture of the
Aw.
Chicoa brain rot taking over. When we were looking around in the Shonen Jump shop,
in the
a
background, I
little
love it.
Japanese boy pointed at Jacob and went, Sanji-san, before his mother quickly yanked him away, and I still to this day laugh at that interaction.
Am
Poor
I a
kid
god?
saw his first blonde guy in real life and immediately thought it was Sanji. Later that day, we also got to attend the
I love
Pokemon
it. I don't watch
Symphony,
One Piece, man. I don't know the characters.
Pokemon
That is
songs,
beautiful,
and
though.
it was absolutely incredible.
What?
Video game orchestras are so
Yeah?
cool. It always
Holy
tugs
crap,
on my
what?
heartstrings to see video
I
game
thought the
music
Metallica one was
transformed
awesome.
into such a beautiful new art form.
Let's
Highly
go,
recommend
man.
attending one if you have any
Highly wanna
favorite
watch
games
it.
or franchises. On to the
Or
first
just
day of
orchestra in
Worlds.
general, you know?
It was exciting. People flooded into the venue. We watched the opening ceremony in
Let's
the
go.
crowd. Just wow. This is
I can't
the
imagine.
whole
I
reason
literally
why
cannot
we're
imagine.
Here.
It's like a once-in-a-lifetime
back to
opportunity,
shopping. Look
obviously.
at this cute little Takeoff book I found in a nearby bookstore.
Did you buy
At
it?
this point, we were absolutely pushing it in terms
Everything's
of luggage
fine.
space, and we were day
How much do you
four
trust that
into
zipper?
a 2.5-week trip. Our shopping sprees until this point were very not frugal, so we cut our losses and bought 2 extra giant
let's go.
suitcases to fit everything
Can you
better.
fit the other suitcase in there?
We
Oh,
knew
God.
we were gonna need extra suitcases. Getting a few extra couldn't
Just a
hurt.
few?
Look, the flights were paid for. We were
many
still saving
suitcases
money
are
at
you
this
gonna
point, I
get?
think. That's my rationalization. I'm going with that.
Let's
Also
go.
in the mall were tons of Pokemon monitors straight up playing the World Championships. TCG,
That's
Pokemon
like real
Go,
life
VGC.
Pokemon,
Japan
man. That is
treated Worlds
amazing.
like it was the
That's
Super
so
Bowl. And it
cool,
was just
dude.
so cool to see one of my main interests so
Imagine this with
culturally
Yu-Gi-Oh! I'd be like
People of
100%
all
on board,
ages
man.
Would stop by
Or
to watch
Gundam
for
or
a bit
J-
before
Dragon
going
Ball
back
Z,
to their
Digimon,
shopping.
anything.
I can't explain it, but it just made me very happy. We even got to see
Aw.
Wolfie live on the monitors.
Oh, let's go.
How'd he do? He did great. Don't worry about it. Nothing happened. Look, we were just happy to see our friend on the Pokeball screen. Proud of you, Wolfie. You're so cool.
Aw.
The second day of Worlds
He still
was
got the
hype.
support.
So hype that we left Yokohama and flew to
Oh.
Osaka. I haven't mentioned
sorry?
it yet, but we actually got tickets to see the one and only Hatsune Miku live
Oh.
in concert. The real ones know
Let's
how huge
go.
that is for me.
I
want
know
to talk
how-
about how life
I know how huge
that
she
was,
is.
but I'm gonna make a whole separate video about that experience.
Holy crap.
I'll be posting next.
Literally
All I'm gonna
life-changing.
say
Probably like
is
when I saw Green
it
Day
was the
live.
best day of my entire life. By a lot. Subscribe now before you miss it, just saying. I will mention
plug.
we did have to take the
Right
train
chain,
to
wrong
get
chain.
back later that night and got super lost again.
Oh, come
and
on.
we never get better at it. Don't expect anything to change in that regard.
I'm not
we
going
did
to.
finally get back to Yokohama, crashed for the night, and had a nice slow morning as we got ready for finals later that day. To any One Piece fans who are caught up,
Not
we
a One
were in
Piece.
Japan for the One Piece anime episode.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about.
I don't. I'm assuming the
1072. We
yeah
were
the
able
cartoon
to
one.
turn on our hotel TV and watch it live.
That's
and that was
freaking
so
dumb.
Cool. I don't talk
That's
about
so
how
cool.
much I love One Piece.
I don't
much,
even watch
mainly
One
because
Piece,
it
man.
doesn't really come
I don't know
up. But One
anything.
Piece is peak, and
I know
it
they
was
eat
an
fruit and
honor
one
to be
turned
in
into
Japan
bubblegum.
at such an iconic part of the manga and anime's history.
That's really
anyway,
cool
back
though.
to Pokemon. Sorry
Anyway.
about that. We were able to watch the final VGC
Just a
match
little
live,
detour.
got to chat and eat dinner
filler
with Wolfie
episode,
and
if you
some other
will.
friends. Had
That's
a late
cool.
night hangout with Jan again. And that was about it. Day 7
sure those are,
meant
like,
it was
real
time to
pictures
pack
that
up
she
all our
animated.
stuff from the hotel, say goodbye to Pokemon and
Aw,
Yokohama, and
I wouldn't
head
leave.
on
Like,
over
straight
to
up,
the
I wouldn't.
apartment we
Me and
rented
my
for
daughter
the
would
rest
live
of our
there.
stay, just outside of Tokyo. At this point, we had filled up all 6 suitcases and multiple backpacks.
6, you say?
I didn't
I'm
mention
assuming
it,
it's
but
together,
Pokemon
but
gave us
still,
a
man.
truckload of gifts that we genuinely had no idea what to do with. We're grateful nonetheless.
Consume
Thank you,
them?
Pokemon. But
Let's go.
yeah, the taxi ride was a bit awkward.
Just
So,
all the
are you
Pokemon
meeting
stuff.
up with some friends?
No.
No. After we got situated in the new place, we decided
Love
to
it.
look around the area and grab some lunch. And I gotta say, the little hole-in-the-wall restaurant Jacob found was some of the best ramen I've
usually
ever
is, man.
had ever.
Oh,
They
let's
even
go.
made it vegetarian for me, which was
Oh.
extremely kind of them.
That's
Food
very
modifying
sweet.
is a bit tricky in Japan compared to the States, so I was very, very
Veggie.
thankful. And it was delicious.
Oh, that looks
We then
amazing.
proceeded to do
Like,
absolutely
artistic-wise.
nothing for the rest of the day because we were exhausted from the trip so far. I haven't mentioned absolutely everything we'd been doing on the trip.
How could you,
because
man?
It would be a lot of. First,
That'd be
we
like
did this and it was
hours.
cool. Then we did this.
I'd enjoy
and
it,
was
though. I'd
cool.
really enjoy
Even though
that.
it was such a pleasure to be invited, I was so dead and
Aw.
definitely looked super not approachable or friendly to the rest of the group by the end of it.
Having time of my
Sorry,
life.
guys. But neither time nor Japan stops for anyone,
Ooh.
so we had to keep on chugging along. There were a
Let's
bunch
go.
of friends we wanted to see while in Japan.
love the highly
and
detailed
one of them was Connor. He wanted to take us to what he deemed
fancy.
his favorite Italian place ever. I asked if it was
In
like
Japan?
fancy Italian, to which I
Is
was
it, like,
given
fancy,
the answer
fancy?
no. So we get there
Oh,
having
okay.
a great time, and suddenly
Was it
we
fancy
realized
Italian?
Junichi Masuda, the director of Game Freak, is there having dinner. Not a fancy
What?
dinner, my ass. I then
My
looked down to
ass?
see the Freddy Fazbear FNAF t-shirt that I am wearing.
It's probably
not
fine.
the best Jaden moment to exist,
I love it.
but hey, what can you do? The food
It's
was
good. He
phenomenal,
probably enjoys
though.
it.
I already mentioned the best
Five Nights at
ramen I've
Freddy's.
ever had while on the trip, but this was genuinely the best pasta I've ever
Pasta.
had in my entire life.
I'm a
Maybe
huge fan
even
of
a top
pasta,
3
man.
meals ever for me.
Behave.
I don't know what the other 2 would be, but that Connor place is definitely up there. The next day we went to the One
Let's
Piece
go,
store
man.
in Shibuya and bought
Oh.
a lot of stuff because
Again,
there
I
was
don't
a
do
lot
One
of
Piece, but
topical and hype things
I
in there, as you could
understand the
imagine.
hype.
If you don't get it, go catch up and come back. Don't worry,
I
it won't take too
refuse.
long. My favorite character is Mihawk, but out of all the stuff the store had to offer, there were only a few stickers and a single keychain from Mihawk. I'm
Why?
still bawling about that one. I just want more Mihawk. Is that too much to ask for? Even this guy
I guess,
got better
maybe.
merch. The
Oh,
world's
wow.
greatest
I don't know who that
swordsman
is.
deserves better.
I don't even know
I
who
guess
this
I'll
is.
just take my Zoro and Law stuff. That's cool
I
too,
want
I
Zoro
suppose.
swords.
I also found a
Let's
bunch
go,
of
Hello
Chico
Kitty!
stuff in a Kittyland store, and this is truly when you get to see where things start going downhill for me. I just like the funny little cartoon bear thing.
It is adorable,
What,
okay?
Is that such a crime? I don't remember what we did the rest of the day. I think we just crashed and passed out. This trip,
As one does.
surreal as it's been so far,
Well, it's
has
taking a
been
toll.
absolutely taking a toll on me.
Well, my
and
exact
I
words.
desperately needed to just not move or talk or exist for a bit. We were doing
Don't talk
so
to me.
many different things.
Jeering,
We're all awesome,
meditating.
and hanging out with so many different people.
I'm sure
We're
just
all awesome,
in
but man,
Japan,
I
it's
am
awesome, man.
not built
Everything
for
is awesome.
extended
Oh.
periods of that much excitement and socializing. As much
Gotta
as
recharge
I
your
would
battery.
like to change
I
this
understand.
fact, I'm also not a very active person. I know. Up until this trip, I was practically sitting down 24/7, working all the time to prep as much work
struggle
as
is real.
possible so I could have a guilt-free 3 weeks off. And my muscles were definitely starting to decay at that point.
What
I
muscles?
looked at my phone's step meter thing, and there was one day where I literally got 300 steps. That's pathetic.
Spartans.
And suddenly, I'm logging over
Pathetic.
20,000 daily. My body was screaming.
Probably.
What the hell are you doing out there? Please stop. Plus, we were in Japan during the hottest, most humid time of the year.
Is it actually
Every
100?
time we left the air-conditioned luxury of a building, we would immediately be drenched in sweat. Look, I'm used to the heat. I grew up in Arizona, but even
Texas.
this was too much. So
Wow.
yeah, crash and burn it was.
It's like different kind of
Tokyo
heat stuff.
Disneyland
Oh my god, what?
was a bit underwhelming. It felt like a slightly worse version of the one in
Isn't it, like, way
California
smaller?
because of the oddly spaced layout and surprisingly empty vibe. We did go to a Stitch themed
Hey,
show
what?
thing, and
That is
as
amazing.
we were walking in, a worker stopped us and said, "Oh, excuse me, Stitch only speaks Japanese," like warning us it's not super tourist friendly. But I just think the statement of Stitch only speaks Japanese
That's
is
amazing, man.
hilarious.
That
We
is
went in
amazing.
anyway, and,
Oh, look at his
Stitch
ears.
only spoke Japanese. Yeah, overall, it was not the best thing we did, but apparently, I didn't know this, Japan has 2 Disneys, Disneyland and Disney Sea, and we went to
I
Land,
didn't know that.
which is
I really didn't know that.
unanimously deemed the worst of the 2. So, oops,
okay.
better luck next time. Jacob and I took 2 more rest
Disney
days
Sea?
where we
That makes
just
no
turned
sense.
to Ash, then up and Adam, back to Osaka
As one
we
does.
go. This time, we
Osaka!
went to an Eve concert. Besides Hatsune Miku, the Japanese band Eve is the only
Never
other
heard of 'em.
concert I've said I wanted to go see. I love their music
Let's go.
videos they have for all their songs. It's always such beautiful animation. And by the way,
might
they're
have to
the
check
ones
'em
who
out.
sang the season 1 Jujutsu Kaisen anime opening theme. If you're
Okay.
lost. Earlier in the trip,
I
Jacob
was
just
lost.
so happened to look up if they were doing a concert while we were there, and lo and behold, they were. We got some totally not scalped tickets, which turned out to be a super complicated process. So thank you, Jacob. You're the bestest friend I've ever had. Thank you.
At least
for
they
going
went,
through the
right?
trenches for silly
no.
old me. Anyway, the concert was so incredible.
Was a
the
misinput.
atmosphere was fantastic. They had awesome visual effects.
Let's
going
go,
on.
man.
The glow bands a lot of people bought
Let's
were perfectly
go.
synced to the music and colors.
I did
on
that
the
for
stage, which
The Incredibles
really
on
enhanced
Ice
the
a long
experience.
time
The
ago.
music was great, which I mean, of course it was. That was the whole reason we went in the first place. I talk about it more in the upcoming Miku video, but Japanese encores
I cannot
are
wait for
so
that video,
much
by the way.
different from the American ones. They're so quiet and polite. There is pretty much no screaming and cheering. It was just
I would
a long
not
applause
be
with
in
a
my element.
semi-whisper chant
I have to
of
scream.
Encore. Encore.
Okay, maybe I'd like
And
that.
they also made us wait like 5 minutes for them to come back out. My hands were getting itchy just from clapping so much. That's how long it took. And then when they finally came out, they ended up doing like 5 extra songs.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not complaining, but after
I
the 4th
wouldn't.
time thinking, man,
Remember when
that
Tenacious
was a
D came
great
out, they played
last
like
extra song.
5 or 6
well,
songs too.
time to head home. Wait. another.
Let's go.
It's getting a bit comedic. This is just a side tangent, but Jacob went off to the bathroom before the show started and came back 10 minutes later like, dude, this is crazy, but it took me a bit longer to find a bathroom because there were so many extra women's bathrooms, which is like, whoa, that's actually so
really
smart.
cool.
There's
actually,
such a huge
I was about to say there's usually a long line
compared to the men's. In
men's, you just walk in and out.
I
always have to wait for my mom or daughter.
Okay, then we'll make more women's bathrooms to fix that problem. Like, it was so simple. I know in
It's,
America
it usually
would
is
turn into a stupid political thing,
Yep.
but it made me so happy Japan just implemented such an obvious and straightforward solution.
Usually the problems we have are
the
very
next day,
simple.
we headed over to Universal.
Let's
which
go.
was, hands down, the best amusement park I've ever been to. So they can
hands
do
down, you
amusement
say.
parks well. First of all, Universal Japan
So they
is
can.
way more anime and manga focused than
Let's
the
go.
ones in the States, which made it instantly more engaging for
Why
me.
can't we
Jacob
have
and I
that?
both
I love
agreed
the
we
face.
would window shop for the first part of the day, and then buy
Does
all
that
the
ever
things
happen?
we wanted as
Oh,
we
okay.
were leaving.
That makes sense.
So
That's
we
what I
didn't
did
have
at Disney.
to lug around a bunch of bags all
It's
day.
like, cannot just
But
buy
we
the first thing you
immediately
see.
saw a little One Piece shop.
That
and
is beautiful.
We just wanted to wear these One Piece headbands.
Oh,
That's
I
rule breaking
want it.
worthy. We also got some towels because, surprise, surprise, it was freaking hot. I know I've been
Obviously.
complaining about the weather here.
I don't know
and there,
Celsius.
but my lord, it was miserably scorching.
I'm
Japan
sorry.
has such a big culture around staying cool while outside, and I totally get it now. People would be walking around with little fans,
Let's
ice
go.
packs, towels.
Do they have the squirty
a lot of
thingies?
Women had parasols.
Oh,
I'll say, if
wanna
we
be
didn't
pretty.
get those towels, we probably could have passed out from heat stroke that day. Later on, I even
Hopefully you
ended
have
up
water.
getting another towel. It
Oh,
was a
I
cute
love that
Pikachu
one.
but I got it mainly because it was a cloak design. After soaking
I
that
love
thing in
cloaks.
cold water
Cloak and
and
dagger.
putting it on, my body temperature instantly lowered
Smart.
like 5 degrees. However, that meant I was
Bye-bye.
walking around the park looking like this.
I don't need
Back
it.
to the awesome stuff. We did a bunch of attractions like watch a fun 4D Jujutsu Kaisen show
Okay.
where the seats
I only
move
got
around.
Shrek.
Went on a super cool 3D VR Spider-Man ride. We tried to cool down by going on a
What?
Minions thing called Freeze Ray sliders that claimed to cool riders down with a blast of chilled mist from a giant freeze ray.
Oh.
But we got on and absolutely did not even touch a drop of the mist because
Oh.
it never ended up getting in range of our
No.
cart. That felt like an actual tragedy at the time.
It's like
There
they're
were a few
purposely
big roller
targeting you,
coasters we
like,
wanted
not
go
to
on,
target.
But I get super motion sick and forgot
Aw.
to bring nausea medicine,
Ew.
so no roller coasters for us.
I love roller
but
coasters,
I
though.
shall return one day. The park, of course, had a bunch of
Dedication.
cool
I love
themed
it.
restaurants. One of them being a super cool One Piece restaurant. Did I mention I like One Piece? There also
No.
was a special Sanji one.
Not 3
but
times.
We didn't
Oh.
know you needed a reservation, so
Oh.
phooey. It was awesome though. I love One Piece. After a few hours of rides and being broiled alive, we decided to fully cool off by going
what
on
is
the
that?
Jurassic Park ride. That's
Oh.
just giant splash mountain with dinosaurs. We
I love
cooked
it.
in line for probably a solid hour, and as soon as we were literally stepping foot inside the ride, it started pouring rain.
Okay.
Now that's just not fair. I don't even understand how that happened, but whatever.
It's like
We
no
started
sign
buying all the
whatsoever,
stuff we
just
window
out of
shopped for
nowhere.
as we waited for the
It's like,
One
oh, you
Piece
wanna cool
live show to
down?
begin. Again, please refrain from judging. I am being vulnerable and open here. By the way, as we were walking around, we stumbled onto a little Mario-themed show
Let's
just
go.
out in a courtyard area. They played some fun
Okay.
little custom songs and had all these dancers
Let's go.
alongside the mascots. And then out of nowhere, they started absolutely blasting the crowd
Let's
with like,
go.
gallons of water. I didn't even see it.
That is
coming. It was like
amazing.
firefighters showed up to put out a
It's
giant
out of
fire,
nowhere.
except the fire was a
I love
bunch of
Japan so
Japanese
much,
people.
man.
The time came
They're so
and we got
cool.
to file in for the special One Piece live show.
Oh.
And even though Jacob and I didn't understand a single part of it because it
cares?
was all in Japanese, it was awesome. And the costume design was phenomenal. It
Oh.
was a bit unfortunate though because the seats were all in like a
Oh.
half circle formation
I can
around
see
the
it.
stage. As much as they tried to make the show enjoyable from all angles, it was pretty hard to see the main things going on in the center. My only true complaint
like Disney on
though,
Ice,
is that
going
Zoro
back to
didn't
that.
come to our side at all. All the other
Aw.
characters rotated around so we could see them, but Zoro only did it at the very end to take a bow. Also, Mihawk being
Take a
included would have been nice, but it's okay.
Aw.
By the time we got to enter Nintendo
So you get for
Land,
11
it was
C
like
listers.
9 p.m.
I love
We
Adele.
got up at 6 a.m.
Dragon
by the
Ball
way, so we pretty
Z.
much just rode the Yoshi's Island ride they don't have in the States and headed home because that's all the energy we had left. But
Right
even
on.
just seeing that, it was miles better than the one in the States.
Okay.
Also, we picked up a little dinner at the 7-Eleven
obviously, it's
near our hotel.
Japan.
7-Eleven is actually awesome in Japan, by the way. And they had a few little
seen that in a
Chico
PewDiePie video.
keychains, and I bought them. Just being transparent here. We woke up early the next morning to catch
I'm gonna see, like, I really hope she has, like, a pile of them at the end of this.
Emily actually booked the reservation for us. She was meant to also be there, but she was only able to get 2 seats and gave them to us as a gift.
That is so sweet.
Emily, I will always be indebted to you.
Oh my god,
for
that's
your
so
sacrifice.
sweet.
The cafe itself was so well decorated.
But you gotta
with all
have
these little
friends.
things, and the menu was adorable. I got the star curry and a magical little fruity drink with a Kirby marshmallow that triggered my
it's a
cue
marshmallow.
aggression. Jacob got the pizza and a Kirby burger, but since he made modifications, the staff asked him to not post a picture of the burger to the public. Like, they didn't know he was a content creator or anything. I guess they just didn't want the public to see a naked Kirby burger. We also both got desserts. I already decided I was gonna consume the Kirby. The presentation was beautiful.
Oh, I love that.
It was literal art on a plate. Taste-wise, it was decent.
Dude, why don't we have anything cool like that? Like, I'm starting to get upset.
Too crazy about, but the rest was super tasty. I did my best, but he ended up looking like he was in a horrific accident when I threw in the towel. The cafe also has a special little private store connected to it.
Let's go.
And yeah, what you expect happened definitely happened. We left with full bellies and bags, continued to look around the shopping center the cafe was connected to, and
dangerous.
ended up walking into a gacha store. I am about to be very vulnerable with you here. This is one of the lowest points of my entire life. Please
let's go, man. I can't wait.
Too much less of me after what happened in that gacha store. So I walk in, spot Chikawa, beeline it to the machine,
my gosh.
obviously. Like I mentioned before,
As you
I'm
do.
only interested in Chikawa, so I was only playing for him.
That's adorable.
But by the cursed luck of the gacha gods, I just could not get him. I was going back and forth.
You got him first try on the first one? Is it really that close? That's dangerous.
Of every other little guy, but no Chikawa. I could feel the workers' glances at me, probably because the desk they were standing behind was right next to the machine I was grinding. But after way too much money, he dropped.
Let's go.
I got my well-earned, horribly priced at that point, Chikawa. I then started looking at all the other machines, putting some coins in a few here and there, until I stopped at one that had a line of animals playing band instruments. They were very silly, but there was a little pigeon holding up cymbals, and I really wanted to get him for Jordan and Kelsey. In went the coins. Tiger,
everybody's so friendly.
elephant,
I love it.
Fox. It was happening again. Everything except the one I wanted, which I know more or less that's the luck with gachas, but it was getting to the point where I was getting surprised the pigeon was dodging me as much as it was. Surely the next one.
The bird flipped you the bird.
Eventually, I had to go back to the coin exchange, and as I was about to put in more money, I saw out of the corner of my eye one of the workers peek out and take a look in horror at all the gachapons that were sitting at the top of my bag. They then raised up their hand and said something in Japanese while shaking their head, and I knew in my heart I was being cut off. No, please! I can stop whenever, just a few more hits.
I swear!
The pigeon is next, I can feel it. Why do you look afraid? What's under the desk? I got kicked out of a gacha store. I had hit an all-time low. I told my friends and they said they probably just thought I was gonna try and resell them, but I don't even know if that would even make it sound better, knowing I was getting so many that they thought I was robbing them.
That's honestly a lot, though.
I wanted my little Chikawa and pigeon with cymbals. We made dinner plans that night with a friend, and we were just about to grab a taxi and head back to freshen up, but Jacob and I caught sight of a fun anime and goodies shop.
Oh, terrible.
Who do we think we are? People with self-control?
No.
We'll make it quick. We rushed in and split up for optimization.
So fast.
As I was looking around, I saw it. A whole section dedicated to Chikawa. It was like someone put a freshly baked pie on a windowsill, and I was suddenly floating over to it. My eyes were zoned in, making sure I saw every single thing possible, putting Chikawa after Chikawa in the basket. Jacob eventually came over and showed me a picture he took on his phone. In my tunnel vision, all my eyes registered was that the picture showed more Chikawa in the store. I immediately went feral. Where? Jacob's eyebrows went up in surprise and maybe a bit of fear. And as I looked at the photo again, I realized Jacob wasn't showing me a picture of a different Chikawa section. He was showing me a picture of me at the current Chikawa section I was standing in because he thought it was funny. And in my Chikawa brain rot, I didn't even register I was in the picture. I just saw more Chikawa and went obsessive.
As one does.
This is how I am. Either stand by me or leave. No, I don't need
You're either with me or against me.
We left. I looked longingly at the crane machine Chikawas we didn't have time for, and we made it in time for dinner. Plus,
let's go.
We ended up in
that looks
another
beautiful, by the way.
Anyway,
or delicious.
And I got myself a Chikawa from one of those machines.
Okay.
So it worked out.
At least you got one.
I don't want to hear it. Finally, we were reaching the end of our
with
trip.
you.
We spent the last day grabbing lunch with Emily and Didus. There was a cool One Piece scavenger hunt event going on, so we also did that with them. We basically had to walk around Shibuya and find special One Piece trading card posters
that is amazing.
In the area. And if we found enough, along with the special card of the day, we could get a limited edition mystery card. It was fun, but also hot. And all my clothes were sticking to my body. Didus generously let me borrow his umbrella, and I jumped for joy as he showed me it was coincidentally Chikawa themed. I don't know what's wrong with me. All I know is that
cute. He's really cute, man.
We spent a few hours completing the scavenger hunt, got our special cards, and bid them farewell. Always good to see you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I accidentally stole Didus' umbrella. It looked so calculated. They knew how much I was obsessed with Chikawa. They'd been watching my Instagram stories.
I didn't even notice you were holding it
in real time. Emily, I have the Chikawa umbrella. I didn't mean to steal it. I promise. It's not what it looks like. Since we were leaving in the morning and wouldn't be seeing them again, they just let me keep it. But the side eye Jacob gave me the rest of the way back.
Like, don't be judging me.
I didn't
I'd be judging me.
Stop it. Getting back to the apartment, reality hit us hard. We needed just a few more suitcases. Again. In total, we ended up buying 6 extra suitcases to hold everything we collectively bought.
That's a
and even
little
then,
much.
It was a
just
struggle
a little bit.
Making it fit. Jacob ended up going professional
Let's go Tetris
mode.
That's what I do when I grocery shop.
Into the suitcases with quite literally no extra room to spare.
I like vacuum seal Snorlax, man.
A backpack, carry-on, and one extra big suitcase. And we're leaving with altogether 8 suitcases and 4 backpacks.
Oh, wow.
We were lucky the taxi driver had a big enough car to fit everything because we didn't have much of a game plan if it didn't. Off to the airport we went where we checked all of our excessive bags, paid a couple fees, boarded our flight, and headed home. That trip will go down as one of the best trips I've ever gone on. It felt like it turned into a celebration of everything that makes me all of my hobbies and interests, Pokemon, One Piece.
It's 100% how I'd feel if I go to
We got to do so many incredible things, and we're given so many opportunities I'd never even thought I could be a part of. I got to see
maybe
so many
someday
friends
I'll get mine.
that are normally so far away, ate some of the best meals of my life, and overall was just really happy, especially getting
this makes me happy
with my best friend Jacob.
Not jealous in any
way, if you wanted to know why in the world we got so many things, yes, a lot of it was for us. 90% of it all was for our friends.
That's how you do it.
The Chikawa stuff was mine, but that's
obviously.
If you want to see what we got them, also credit where credit is due. The majority of it all was from Jacob because he's a great gift giver and even more.
Seemed like you have the
best
of friends
around him. We're all nothing short of lucky to be able to call him our friend. You can go watch his Japan video. I assume it's already up because we had to animate a freaking 30-minute long video. Oh my god, it was a lot. Thanks
it's a little long.
But yeah, I just had an unforgettable trip, and I owe the opportunity to the Pokemon Company for inviting us to Japan in the first place.
They're not all bad.
I'm extremely lucky.
Nintendo is not necessarily Pokemon.
And we'll be forever grateful.
Pikachu! This was beautiful! No talking at the end? Hey, there's his. His is only 27. What's the deal, Jaiden? I'm joking, man. That was very beautiful. Alright, man. Overall, that was, like, really entertaining. Like, it kind of got a little draggy towards the end, I'm not gonna lie, just because it's, like, over a 30-minute long. Like, obviously, it's gonna get that way, but still, like, the stuff she was talking about was very enjoyable, man. Like, I feel like I'd be in the same exact situation that she was in, you know? Like, I'd get hyper-fixated on, like, a certain type of cute character there somewhere, you know? Like, mine would probably be, like, Hello Kitty or something, because I know Hello Kitty has Gundam. collaborations and stuff like that, and I'm pretty sure Dragon Ball Z as well, but like, I'm missing the point, man. Like, this was very, very awesome, and like I said, very entertaining. Like, the animation was very awesome. Like, I know like she usually does like more simplistic stuff, but this had a lot of detail going on, like especially more than normal, you know, when she like cuts to like a really detailed version. Seemed to be more of this. I don't know if it was like lengthwise because of that, or it was just because of it because it was Japan, you know. There's like, I don't know how much stuff she went through, like the freaking awesomeness that is Japan. Like, I'm really, really jealous at this point, you know, but I'm really happy that she was able to experience it for herself, you know. Like, I'm sure it's like she said, like a once in a lifetime opportunity to experience this, especially when it was like all paid for with Pokemon, you know. Like, that is something like you could brag about, in all honesty, which she kind of did during like this video as a whole. But like, it's really, really cool. Like, the stuff that she did during this trip is really, really awesome and really enjoyable, like outside looking in, you know. It's kind of like a what are they called, like a tourist attraction just for her, you know. Like she was saying at the very end, you know, she said it was like all the stuff that she really, really liked, like jam-packed into one like trip, which was very, very awesome, you know. So without a doubt, this was fantastic to watch. Like, it was a little long, but man, I loved it. Like, every time she talks, or like any topic she wants to talk about, especially Japan, man, I am all here for it. So thank you everybody so much for watching. Leave a like down below, subscribe, ring the bell, become a member, you get videos a day early, and check out the merch. So with that said, I have been Master Zero. You guys have been fantastic, and I'll see y'all in the next episode. Later days.